It was here on the streets of Queen Anne Hill, overlooking downtown Seattle, where a seemingly minor traffic accident would kick off an hours-long crime spree that police say led to a 67-year-old woman being gunned down, an accused killer slipping past police, and an international manhunt taking investigators across the globe. There was simply no way for anyone here on these normally quiet streets that morning to know the chaos and tragedy that was coming. The first victim of January 26, 2024 was right here at 9th Avenue and Howe Street. She said that she got rear-ended, and when she got out to exchange information with the other driver, a man put a gun in her face, stole her car keys, and then took off in her SUV. And that's where the first video picks up. As Seattle police raced into the area, an officer's dash camera was recording when he said he saw that stolen Porsche SUV going east on Mercer Street. He zips through traffic to catch up to it and follows the car onto I-5 while radioing updates to other officers.
Checking plate 04970.
It was just south of downtown where the car swerves and then takes off. The officer attempts to follow, but he can't keep up. The carjacked Porsche gets away from police, but investigators say the suspects inside it aren't done yet. About 45 minutes later at this QFC grocery store in Normandy Park, another camera captures that Porsche SUV pull into the parking lot. The driver gets out, then the passenger, and it's here where we see a clear shot of who police identify as Salman Haji. Next to him, police say that is then 19-year-old Ilyiss Adbi. Inside the store, police say they are using the credit card of the woman they just carjacked to buy gift cards. After a few minutes, that video shows them take the gift cards and leave, getting back into the Porsche SUV, and police say moving on to their next target. 20 minutes later and 5 miles away in Tukwila, a camera is rolling as that Porsche SUV comes into the east parking lot of a Costco. Police say Salman Haji is in the passenger seat and Ilyiss Adbi is behind the wheel. Another camera captures these two women walking to their car with no hint of the danger they are about to face. The camera shows them load groceries as the Porsche drives by, then flips around and heads back, stopping right behind the women. This is when police say Salman Haji gets out of the car and approaches the driver to steal her purse. There's a struggle, and the passenger, 67-year-old Yuam Ming, tries to help her sister. You can't see it here, but inside the car, police say Haji hits the driver with his gun, then shoots Ming in the chest. He runs back to the Porsche, and they speed off, this camera recording that stolen Porsche leaving the area. First responders raced in and tried to save Ming's life, but she died. Bystanders were in shock after what happened.
It was devastating because I could tell it was an elderly woman too. You could just, it's just the whole scene, it was just nasty.
It looks like someone climbed over the fence right there.
Seattle police and the carjacking victim were able to use a GPS tracker to locate the Porsche in a parking lot behind a church in the city of SeaTac.
I think they wiped it down because that's dry. Drier. It's been rained on. There's a medical mask and receipts, like ATM receipts.
Well, one of the suspect descriptions, they had a blue mask on. Yeah.
In the days after the shooting, police said very little about what had happened and their investigation. But behind the scenes, investigators knew if they could solve the carjacking in Seattle, they could likely solve the murder in Tukwila. Now, the victim of the carjacking said that her credit card was used at the QFC grocery store. Remember that video of the store entrance and the gift cards at the cash register? Well, that became a top priority for investigators. And this moment, when the suspect turns his head. At first, investigators didn't know who this was, but they put out a police bulletin asking if any cops in the area knew him. They did. An officer from Des Moines police said that he recognized this person as Salman Haji, and police said this still image matched Haji's driver's license photo. But that wasn't enough. They had to turn to the stolen SUV in hopes that perhaps the killers had left behind clues. Now, according to charging documents, crime scene investigators found two sets of prints on this SUV, one matching Salman Haji and the other coming back to Ilyiss Adbi. The court documents don't say exactly what date investigators identified Haji and Adbi as their suspects in the carjacking and murder, but there is one very important date, February 1st, which is 5 days after the murder of Yuam Ming. That day would change the course of the entire investigation. While police were still quiet, a social media account known for posting about gangs and crime in Seattle made a post identifying Haji as the Costco killer. Within a day, investigators say Haji came here to the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport and boarded a flight. Investigators say he went to Africa. But again, police weren't talking about any of this publicly at the time, leaving many to wonder if investigators would ever solve the case. Then, a few weeks later, there was another shooting down the road in Kent. In this case, a teenager was shot in the head and killed, and there was no connection at the time to the Costco shooting. But as Kent investigators dug into it, they came up with a suspect, Ilyiss Adbi. And in May of 2024, Adbi was arrested for the Kent shooting, and then the next week, he and Haji were both charged with the murder of Yuam Ming. While Adbi was now in jail, investigators turned their attention to figuring out how to get Haji back to Washington. Like everything in this case, they kept their work quiet. Then, earlier this month, Salman Haji was booked into the King County Jail and given a bail of $5 million. The FBI says they tracked him down in Nairobi, Kenya, and brought him back to Seattle. With both suspects now in custody, the next step here is for the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Critical to that will be some of those videos that you have just seen. Now, Ilyiss Adbi, who's been in custody for more than a year, he has pleaded not guilty to these charges. Salman Haji, of course, he was just brought back to the United States last week. He hasn't faced a judge yet. We expect that to happen late next week. One of the main questions that I've heard here is, why did all of this happen? Well, the Tukwila Police Department put out a statement and they reiterated they believe that this was an attempted robbery in the parking lot of that Costco. Haji, who's the accused shooter, also faces a federal charge of carjacking for stealing that woman's Porsche SUV right here in Queen Anne.